Hey guys, you're welcome back to my channel today. Thank you so much for stopping by. So this is a continuation video from our last tutorial. In this video, we'll be sewing our corporate dress with a built-up neckline and cap sleeves. So in case you've not seen the pattern drafting tutorial, I'm going to leave the link in the comment section, so go ahead and watch it before you come join us on this particular one. So for this tutorial, I used 3 yards of Ankara fabric. So guys, after cutting out facing for both the front and the back patterns, go ahead and iron interfacing to the facing to strengthen the neckline area. So like I mentioned in my pattern drafting tutorial, I'm not going to iron facing to mine because my Ankara fabric is quite strong. But if you're using a stretchy fabric or a very soft fabric, then go ahead and iron interfacing to the facing to strengthen the neckline area. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to work on the neckline area. So I've placed my facing right side to the main fabric. I'm just going to go ahead and sew the neckline like this. Okay, I'll sew it in place. So I'm also going to repeat the same thing for the back pattern. Okay, so I'm going to sew just the upper part, okay, just this upper part and the zipper area. That's where I'm going to sew. Okay, so go ahead and arrange your pattern and the facing in place. Okay, place them right side facing right side, and then go ahead and sew just this upper part, okay, and the zipper area. So guys, after sewing the neckline in place, this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and notch all the way around so everything stays flat. Okay, after notching, you are going to turn it inside out and you're going to give it a good press. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that. After turning it inside out and it's sitting well, I'm going to use my hemming comb to just hold it on the wrong side just so it's sitting really flat. So guys, as you can see, my neckline is quite small, so I'm going to be adjusting it later. Okay, so instead of going down by 6 inches just like I did, you can do 7 inches or 8 inches. The next thing I'll do is to place the side. Okay, I'll place my side pattern just like you see me doing, and I'm going to sew my princess dart. Okay, so what you're going to do is to use half an inch to sew all the way around. As you are sewing, just make sure you follow the shape on this side, sew all the way to the end. So that's what I'm going to do. And for the back guys, I've also gone ahead to sew the neckline in place. I'm also going to notch all the way around. After notching, I'll turn inside out and I'll go ahead and give it a good press. So guys, next thing I'll do is to also place the side. Okay, just like I did for the front, I'm going to place them right sides facing right sides and I'll follow the shape. I'll go ahead and sew. So I've gone ahead to stitch the front in place and this is what it looks like guys. The next thing I'm going to do is to place this on my tailor's arm and I'm going to iron this seam allowance open. Okay, just so everything stays flat on the front. As you can see, it's a little bit rumpled, so by the time I iron, everything is going to be flat. For the back also, I've gone ahead to stitch down. I'll also go ahead and iron everything in place so it stays flat. So go ahead and do that using your tailor's arm. So guys, for the skirt part, I'm going to go ahead and notch my zipper allowance first of all because I'm not adding lining to this. So I'll notch my zipper allowance so I know where I'm supposed to fix my zipper when I'm sewing. Okay, what I'll do now is to mark my dart on the wrong side of this fabric. I already have my dart on just one part of this fabric, so I'm going to mark my dart both on the back and the other side of the front just so it's easy for me to locate where to stitch my dart when I'm sewing. So as you can see, I'm taking my dart exactly what we did while we're drafting. So I'll just go ahead and stitch my dart in place. For the front, I've gone ahead to iron and you can see what it looks like on the right side. I've also gone ahead to stitch my dart in place and I ironed it flat. Next thing I'll do now is to join the lower bodice and the upper bodice. Okay, I'll make sure that the dart for the upper bodice and that of the lower bodice is sitting directly on each other, and then I'll pin After pinning, I'm going to go ahead and sew using 1/2 inch. Okay, so guys, for the back I also went ahead to iron. Okay, I ironed everything flat. I also ironed my zipper allowance to know where to fix my zip. So I'm going to open the zipper allowance up like this, and I'll bring in my lower bodies. So just the same thing that I did for the front, I'm going to place them like this, making sure that my dart aligns. Okay, I'm going to place them right side facing right side. I'll pin and then I'll go ahead and sew using my 1/2 inch allowance. After sewing, guys, this is what I have. You can see my two back piece. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to place them on each other, right sides facing right sides. Okay, I'm going to open my zipper allowance in place. As you can see, my zipper allowance is already ironed. Okay, because I want to sew my zipper on that particular line. So I'm going to pin from the waistline, as you can see me doing, down to the hem line of my skirt. After doing that, guys, I'm going to bring in my zipper, and I'll use my zipper to measure where I want my zip to stop when I'm fixing. Okay, so I'm going to place my zipper like this, and I'll figure out where I want it to stop. I'll also go ahead and mark where I want my slit to stop. Okay, so for the slit, I want it to stop at 17 inches, which I just marked and I indicated with my chalk. I'll place my zipper from the neckline area down to where I want the zipper to also stop, and I'll use my chalk to also mark it. After marking, guys, I'm going to now sew from where my zipper is supposed to stop to meet my slit length. Okay, where I want my slit to start from. Okay, so this place that I used my chalk to mark is where I'm just going to sew. After doing that, I'll go ahead and fix my zipper. So guys, I've sewn it in place. I've also gone ahead to fix my zipper, and this is what it looks like. So I finished up my slit area by just ironing hemming gum to it. I used hemming gum to hold it down to give me that neat finishing. If you don't have hemming gum, just go ahead and stitch it down. Okay, so the next thing I'm doing is placing my front and my back piece together, and I'm going to stitch the shoulders. So you can go ahead and use the lining to cover each other, lining to lining, and the main fabric to the main fabric, or you can just stitch it directly depending on what you want. So guys, after stitching the shoulders together, I realized that my neckline was too small, so I decided to just come in on this shoulder area. That 1 inch that I left while I was drafting, I decided to just trim it off, and I also went down by 8 inches for my neck depth, which is the V neckline. After doing that, I went ahead to just sew it in place, and I stitched the shoulders again. So guys, as you can see, the armhole became small, and this happens a lot whenever you are sewing a princess dart bustier. So what I'm doing is remarking my armhole area. Okay, I'll mark and I'll cut. Okay, so go ahead and remark your armhole area, okay, by using your armhole circumference divided by 2 plus 1 inch for stitching allowance. After doing that on both sides of the armhole, this is what I have. The next thing I'll do is to bring in my sleeves. So as you guys can tell, I reduced my sleeves by 2 inches, and I also used my hemming gum to fold the ends of the sleeves because I don't want to sew it. So I just placed my hemming gum and I folded in 1 inch. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and stitch my sleeves in place. Okay, after doing that, guys, you're going to shape your dress. To do that, turn your fabric to the wrong side, and you're going to place your round sleeves measurement divided by 2 on the sleeves area, your round armhole circumference divided by 2 on the armhole area, your bust circumference divided by 2 on the bust area, your waist circumference divided by 2 on the waist area, and your hip circumference divided by 2 on the hip area. Go ahead and connect like this, and then sew on both sides. After sewing, guys, this is what I have. This is what my dress looks like. Okay, the next thing you do is to cut out your rope, okay, that you'll be using to tie the waist area. I've gone ahead to do that. I also went ahead to sew my rope in place, and I turned it inside out. So guys, the wideness of this rope is 2 inches on fold, meaning I cut out 4.5 inches, and I used that fanning to sew it, and I turned it inside out. So while I was shaping my dress, I left the waist area open a little. Okay, the wideness that I left open is 2 inches on both sides, as you can see. So I'm just going to pass my rope through that opening, and I'll go ahead and stitch it on the wrong side. Okay, so go ahead and do that. I've gone ahead to sew the rope on the waist area. I've sewn it in place, and this is what I have. So the length of this rope is about 45 inches. Okay, and I have 2 of them. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do now is to hem the base of my dress. So I don't want to sew the base. I'll be using my hemming gum. I'll place it and then I'll iron it all the way around. Yeah guys, that is all for this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to like this video. Leave your questions in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.